What's up, people? It's Nature Girl 30 here, and this is my Summerslam review for August 19th. Honestly, I have to say that there's a lot of things. Okay, there's a lot of things that there was a few things that I was confused about. There was some things I didn't agree with, and there was one thing that I loved so much. Like, I seriously loved the way this happened. I'm gonna go into the stuff that I didn't like. Okay, the one thing I didn't like was I did not like Alberto Del Rio's loss to Sheamus. His loss was cheap. It was pathetic. That I can't believe that they ended it that way. Alberto Del Rio once again got screwed out of the belt. And sure, he had a boring title reign, but honestly, it's high time that this guy actually had a belt around his waist. But Sheamus ended up picking up the win. Yeah, sure. There was a lot of unexpected things. I know one thing that I was really kind of sort of didn't like, but kind of sort of not expecting was Chris Jericho's win over Dolph Ziggler. Now, Chris Jericho, yes, this was a redemption match. So, in a way, you kind of can understand why Chris Jericho had to win, especially the fact that he's a legend. But honestly, Chris Jericho really did not need the win. Dolph Ziggler really needed it more than he did, and it's a shame that he lost. But Dolph Ziggler still has Money in the Bank, so it's not a total loss right there. Um, I was also disappointed a little bit to see that Rey Mysterio did not win the IC Championship belt, even though The Miz has not really had a long title reign. But the one thing I am going to say is this. Rey Mysterio is a given that he is going to retire. He might retire this year at this year's WrestleMania. I don't know. There's a lot of rumors going about it. So I thought this would be a really great thing to put on his resume. Since he's only had about only one title under his belt throughout his entire career. So I thought this would really be great for him to put this under his belt, but unfortunately he did not win. The Miz won, which is pretty good because the Miz really did need it. But Antonio Cesaro versus Santino Marella in a U.S. Championship match for the dark match that was on YouTube. Honestly, I am so thrilled, so happy, so wee, yay! Antonio Cesaro actually did win this belt. I'm happy that he won the U.S. title because Santino Marella really did make a mockery of it. I'm so happy that he actually took the belt, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen on Raw. I'm looking forward to it. Now, moving on to a very disappointing match, and we all know that everybody has lost their interest of this match because of the fact that AW is gone. I'm talking about the Boom and True versus the Primetime Players. Now, they could have at least given the Primetime Players a bone. It would have been a great morale booster on their half if they actually did take the belts. I mean, come on, they lost probably their best promoter. It sucks. They lost their best promoter. At least give them a bone. Come on, man. But unfortunately, they did not. So unfortunately, they ended up not getting the belts. The Women True ended up keeping the belts, which was sad. What was even more sad was the fact that the Divas didn't even get acknowledged tonight, except for that stupid concert that happened when, gosh, Kevin Ruff was terrible. Not only did he gain a ton of weight since his last performance at Royal Rumble, I think it was Royal Rumble, and he performed Let It Rock. The guy was tired. Everything was out of tune. His voice was out of tune, and the Divas just not even they could save it. And his messed up part is that Layla was not even there to defend her belt. That's just sad. It's like it's a meaningless prop now, and those poor women, they're not even getting acknowledged for anything, and it just makes me sad. But the one thing that I have to say is the triple threat match I really did not care about. Even when the skipping Lolita came down and just restarted the match and having the same outcome that we all knew was going to happen. I don't know. I didn't really care much about that match, so I'm not even going to talk much more about it. The U.S. match, and I think I just talked about it. Honestly, Alberto Del Rio got screwed. He got screwed in the butt with no lube. Seriously. And I hate to sound crude like that, but I'm gonna be real. He got screwed. I mean, in a cheap way at that. I mean, my gosh. My guess is that they're gonna continue this feud all the way to Night of Champions, so maybe this is not totally over. But anyway, it was still a screw job. I'm sorry, it really was. Moving on. to the whole bunches of filler that they had. Now this is going into my category of gripes. My biggest gripe, number one, is the fact that they put this concert in for SummerSlam instead of just having a filler match in between it. They had at least what 30 minute they had a 30-minute span, a 30-minute gap of filler. So what they could have done was they put two matches in there, two really good matches that built up decent feuds. Ryback versus Jinder Mahal, and Damian Sandow versus Brodus Clay. They could have put that in there, but no, they had to add all this little film filler, as well as actually putting in a whole bunch of stuff about WWE films and commercials. Commercials? That's the first time I ever saw WWE put a commercial in there. But anyway, the thing about it is, they had a lot of things to do. They could have put a lot of other stuff in there as filler, but they put in meaningless crap in there as filler. So that was just stupid. I'm sorry, it really, really was. I just didn't like it at all. Maybe, ugh. But there was one thing that I really, really loved. Wait, before I really go into that, I'm gonna go into one thing that really confused me. Where's Charlie Sheen? Like literally, what happened to Charlie Sheen? Like honestly, I'm gonna be real here. Charlie Sheen had made all that hype about him actually going against Daniel Bryan, and he wasn't there. What happened? And I didn't get it. I didn't get it at all. And not only that, SummerSlam had 15 minutes left. They ended 15 minutes early. Triple H's match started at 10:15 p.m. U.S. time, and it ended 10:45 p.m. U.S. time. They had an extra 15 minutes to go. Why did it? Seriously, you could have put filler in there, and if you actually put a filler match in there, you could have filled the gap. Two filler matches in there could have filled the gap. Really, guys? Come on now, you gotta keep track of your own time. But anyway, the one thing that really did make me happy was the ending for SummerSlam itself. The fact it was Triple H versus Brock Lesnar. The fact that Brock Lesnar actually did win made Brock Lesnar's return not seem so cheap, not seem so pathetic. And that made me so happy. The fact that Triple H tapped out. It was humiliating for him, and now he's going to actually go on the back burner, stay back, doing what he has to do being a COO, which makes me happy because Triple H really did make that end of an era match look cheap when he came back and actually started performing again. It was supposed to be end of an era. The Attitude Era was supposed to be gone, done, finito, after that match. But when he came back, he made it look cheap. So now that he's actually lost against Brock Lesnar, he's going to probably go, oh, no, I'm done. Yay! Stay gone for a while, please. Until you really, really need to. I understand WrestleMania, but SummerSlam? No. But anyway, I was so happy and satisfied to see Brock Lesnar win. It was a great ending for me. I have to say that SummerSlam in general really did put me to sleep. I'm not going to lie. I was bored on up to now. Don't get me wrong. When it came to Daniel Bryan versus Kane, that was a good match to watch. And also seeing how that it's a possibility that the feud is going to continue was even better. Because I actually did enjoy that match. Those guys were great. Especially Daniel Bryan's interaction with the fans, screaming no in their face, and then they're screaming yes and no. I think that's hilarious. But all in all, SummerSlam was just completely boring all the way through to the middle. Then it started to pick up, and then the end, it really picked up. It really woke me up for that final match. So I have to say this. I'm not giving it a thumbs up and thumbs down because it's one of the big four pay-per-views. Or it's a pay-per-view in general. So here's what I'm going to say. For those that are going to buy it for a second time for a recap, don't buy it. I would say wait and rent it. Seriously. Wait and rent this thing on pay-per-view. Wait and rent this thing on DVD or on Blu-ray at Blockbuster, whatever. This is a rentable pay-per-view. So I will rent it, then buy it. That is my verdict, and I am sticking to it. This is Nature Girl 30 signing off. Peace out, y'all. See you at Raw.